So the first thing to understand is that we come into this world, and I'm just going to lead you through some basic thought experiment stuff, okay? Because that's kind of what philosophy is, right? You come into this world, you've been created by a creator. In fact, the world has been created by a creator, right? So it would be very easy for us to agree that there is no man or woman on earth that they did not create, and they did not create themselves, that can lawfully, rightfully claim authority over anyone else. Unless you've done something where you have violated real law. And now, of course, the law demands that certain things then happen to you that may infringe upon your freedom or your wishes or whatever, right? That's the only way that can lawfully happen. There's no other man or woman here that created any of this. So how do they hold claim to it? Claim, okay? So it's the things that we claim, right, that actually belong to us. Like, I claim my body. This is my body. If there's someone else that thinks that they have a higher claim to this body than me, then let them present themselves. We'll talk about it, and maybe we'll sort it out honorably between us, and if not, we'll go to the courts, okay? Because that's how the court system's supposed to work. You're supposed to have honorable men and women try to work things out between themselves. Maybe they get friends or family or an arbiter involved, right? And your last resort is to go to the public courts and say, we need help, we need a magistrate because we're unable to sort this out ourselves honorably. At least one of us is behaving like a child, and we need daddy to come in the black robe and sort this out. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's supposed to sort things out outside of court in the private. Because, see, that's the thing. You are born as a private person, right? An individual, man or woman, okay? Some people would say a sovereign, but I like to be careful with that word because they've, tried to toss all types of nastiness around the word sovereign, right? Just means that you're not ruled by anybody, right? That's the thing. You want to be a sovereign without subjects. You're not claiming to be king over anything except for your damn self, right? Or queen, right? So if nobody owns any of this stuff, how do we lay claim to anything beyond our body? Well, by investing your time, energy, or money, things like that, right? By investing in something, okay? So let's say a piece of land. You go out, you find a piece of land, and there's nobody doing anything with it, and you're doing your due diligence to find out, okay, does anyone have a claim on this land, right? And so, maybe they don't. And so now you start putting work into it. This is what the pioneers did, right? They say, hey, look, I'm going to claim this land, and I'm going to work this land. And that's how they gained ownership, right? That's how they gained the authority to say, that's my property. Right? You heard about people staking a claim, right? Like out in the gold rush years in California, you'd go out, you find a piece of rock that looks shiny, you'd be like, dang, this is my claim. And so you write it all down and you go down to the county clerk's office and you would file your claim. I'm claiming this, assuming there's no conflict to resolve, right? Someone else, has a competing claim. Well, then that's it. It's your property and you're going to do what you got to do with it. And it really is just that simple. And so for someone to come along, anyone, they can have a title. I'm the governor of this or the officer of that. Okay, so great. They've got a legal fiction title, right? Because I don't know anyone that was born, as, Governor Andrew Cuomo. But no. That's a title that man obtained, a fictional legal title that he obtained later. And what does that mean? Well, let's think about it. Governor is the executive officer for a state, right? The chief executive officer, the CEO for a state. Now, the state is also a legal fiction. You should check that out if you don't know what that means. Legal fiction, right? That's a term. So the state is a legal fiction, just like Chase Bank is a legal fiction. The state has a CEO, just like Chase Bank has a CEO. Who at Chase Bank is basically they have to obey the orders of the CEO? Well, the employees, right? An employee, of course, is a lawful term of art, right? A legal fiction as well, right? If you are an employee of Chase Bank, then you need to listen to the chief executive of Chase Bank. If you are an employee of New York State, then you need to listen to what the chief executive of New York State has to say, or whatever state, right? So when Mr. Nipple Ring Cuomo comes along and says you've got to do A, B, and C, well, he's really talking to his employees. But again, if you listen, well, then then you listened, right? Or better said, obey, because you should always listen. You should always listen to what people have to say, and then you go from there, right? I'm not even saying that he's necessarily, saying bad things. I'm just trying to point out that things are not necessarily what they seem, right? This man is not the chief executive for you unless he is, okay? This is basic stuff. This is real simple stuff, okay? And, let me pull up a quick example here, right? So, this is an interaction that I had. This is the final notice in a chain of notices by which I was trying to get rid of, someone had claimed that I owe them a debt. It was the Transit Adjudication Bureau claimed that I owe them a debt. And so I was just asking questions. I didn't say, no, I don't owe you. I didn't say, no, my rights and the Constitution. I didn't say none of that stuff. Now I'm making claims that I'm going to have to prove. I may or may not be able to, but why even put the burden on myself? That's the thing, burden of proof. It's a burden to prove things. I don't have to prove that. They're the ones making the assertion. They're saying that I owe them. So what I'm saying is, okay, I'd be happy to pay you. Just prove it to me, okay? And it eventually came to the sheriff. And so I said to the sheriff, because he sent me a letter saying, we might garnish your wages and seize property and stuff like that. And so I just made it really clear to him, and you can pause this and really take a good look at it, but I just made it really clear to him, look, I've been honorable. I've tried to settle this outside of the courts. I've been communicating honorably, trying to get to the bottom of this. I'm happy to pay any debt that is proven, and no one's given me any proof, right? Guess who didn't pay any fictitious debts? Okay. And I also had Discover Bank come at me some years ago. Now here's a fun one, right? Let me break this one down for you. Discover Bank claimed that I owe them a debt. So I just asked him, in writing of course, can you prove that I owe you this? Can you show me? And here's where some of this terminology spills over. I'm not dealing with a mortgage, but I'm dealing with a bank, much like the his advocates people, right, are dealing with banks, with mortgages and stuff. And so I just said, hey, look, where's the original note? Let me see this original note. They couldn't produce it, right? I got copies. So I offered to pay them with copies of money. No, I didn't, right? That would have been a waste of time. But right? So I'm like, all right, you're going to send me a copy. What you want me to do with that? Long story short, they were unable to prove it. We're talking about $12,000, people, in case you're curious. They were unable to prove it. And so I didn't pay it. And then as it turns out, this little tax season that came around, they sent me a little, 1099-D, I don't know, some form that basically says, hey, we forgave this guy's debt, so, we're going to write this off and you can tax him for that debt forgiveness, right? So what did I do? Well, I just went to the IRS's website and I found a form for some type of fraud or whatever, and I filled it out and I said, I believe that Discover Bank, and I named their CEO, right? I want a living man. So I said, yeah, Discover Bank, the fictitious entity, and this living man who sometimes acts as CEO for this bank, I believe they're trying to defraud me and they're trying to defraud you, because I done gave them an opportunity to prove that I owe them. They didn't take it. I gave them 3 chances. They didn't take it. And now they're coming at you with this, trying to say that they forgave a debt. They ain't even proved the debt. I think this is fraud. So guess who didn't have to pay taxes on that fake debt that was not forgiven? Okay? I did this with letters. Letters that use common law concepts and common law language. And do you know why I prevailed? Because common law is still the foundation of law in this country. They are absolutely working on destroying it. I don't know how much longer we got with this stuff, but I'm telling you now, it's powerful. It's one of the keys to freedom. Michael calls it the sword and the stone. You bet your arse. I would, while I'm wearing this hat, I would call it the master sword. Only those who are true and good can actually wield it. And it can destroy evil and lies and darkness and banish it. It can. For now. So the more of us that learn this and use it, the better off we'll be. Because if we got enough people living in a given area that know this stuff and live this stuff, well, now you've got a seed community whereby this sanity of common law spreads. You see? This is the key. Man, maybe there's more. But I know, I'm telling you now, common law, law in general, absolutely vital to the pursuit of freedom, life and liberty and happiness and all that other stuff. There's a lot more to come. You need to go to whatiftishappened.net. You need to go to the, I forget what the tab is. I want to say it's other media, something like that. There's only a few tabs. You can find it. Okay, and there's a little thing that says law, right? I'll get a screenshot of it. And there's stuff there that you can use to get started. Okay, links to places that will get you started. There's a lot to learn. I can't teach it to you all, but I can give you breadcrumbs, which is what I've been trying to do. All my serious people, let's get serious. Stick with me. I'm going to try to lead you forward through this as best I can, bits and pieces. Anybody else who's feeling like, I can't handle it, yeah, maybe you can't, all right? And I'm not turning this into a tricycle so that, people who don't know how to do anything can do this. No, all right? This is for the self-motivated people who want to be empowered, all right? We got to get high speed here, all right? Because we've been dragging too long. Too many people sitting back eating popcorn for too long. I love y'all. Pardon my tone of voice. But things have gotten serious, and we need to as well.